Well, at the top of the show, we told you about the 2 Indianapolis police officers indicted in the death of Herman Whitfield. His family's attorneys are holding a live press conference right now. Let's listen in.
Death, but we're pleased and we're grateful to the grand jury for indicting these 2 officers, and we're hopeful that justice will occur. We will continue the civil case in federal court against all 6 officers, and we're hopeful that we will get justice in that case as well. We have Herman's father and mother here to talk today, and Israel Cruz and Dale Locke. Herman, you have something to say?
Well, it's good that the community, through the grand jury, and through how the officers acted, and through them upon not following their policy and procedure, was able to come through with the indictments of the officers. And these indictments should be respected by elected officials such as Mayor Hossett and Mr. Randall Taylor, the chief. They should be respected by them because the community said so, and they are elected by the community. And I just want to be thankful to the grand jury for their decision and the community. And as we go on, we hope for justice and satisfaction throughout the community. And thanks. Anybody else?
I don't have much to say. I just echo what Attorney Whitfield said, and also what my husband said. I'm thankful for the support of the community, and including the support in you all coming out to hear what we have to say, to recognize the grand jury's investigation, or not investigation, but their review of the evidence and their conclusions that the acts were criminal that caused our son to be killed by them. And also it's our opinion that the defendants still have not been transparent, even though all they have promised is transparency, and all they have delivered is obliqueness and darkness and deception. So hopefully the Department of Justice will come in and do a review, and maybe then all the truth will come out.
How does this help in the healing process?
Well, it helps in that, it's almost like we were being gaslighted to believe that what was done to our son was proper and lawful and legal and justified, and that our son deserved to die. So the community recognizing what the officers did was criminal, it just helps to enforce our reasonable beliefs that what the officers did was an injustice and criminal. So I guess that is part of the healing process.
Herman, do you believe that the 2 officers most responsible for your son's death are the ones that have been charged here? Are you satisfied with who's been charged?
Well, the grand jury made the decision, the community made the decision, so I'll have to accept what the citizens in the community of this beautiful city, their decision. So it has to be accepted, and I'm just hoping for justice.
You started to speak at the same time she was. What does it mean for you as far as,
Well, the healing is slow, if ever. As far as I'm concerned, there is no healing because Herman will always be with me. He was my son, her son, our son, and he shall always live forever in us, and his legacy should also always live forever within us. And I don't know if the healing even started yet, or if it would ever end. So
I would answer the question about the 2 officers, whether the grand jury determined that they were criminally liable and they would be prosecuted in the criminal process. The other 4 officers that were there The law is clear civilly that they have, if they weren't hands-on, they had a duty to intervene. Both the civil law and the IMPD's own policies provide that the officers, if they see excessive force going on, they have a duty to intervene, stop it, and report it. So that wasn't part of the grand jury's process today, but it's part of our lawsuit. Our lawsuit is also against the city of Indianapolis for their policies and practice, which led to this death. The city's got some good policies and practice with regard to positional asphyxiation, but it's not enforcing them. There's been other deaths like this in this community, and the city has covered them over and not gone and got after the officers that did this. And in this case, look what the city did. They put out a false narrative about what happened, saying Herman was throwing things at them and charging them, and that's why they had to use the taser against him, and that the officers, they didn't mention that the officers ignored his pleas that he couldn't breathe and left him in a prone position with weight upon his back, in violation of the IMPD's own orders. And they put out a very selective and misleading critical incident video, which suggested that Herman was the aggressor and not the victim in this case. So the city of Indianapolis is also responsible here, and we're holding them account in the civil case. And that's also why we think the Department of Justice ought to come in and investigate the city and its practices and how they treat minorities in this community and how they respond to mental health incidents in this community. And that's what our case is about.
You both testified before the grand jury?
Well,
they're not at liberty at this point to talk about anything that happened with the grand jury.
And so I am the coordinator for the Justice for Herman Whitfield III campaign. Since October, we've been, in addition to volunteers who have come along the way, we've been supporting the Whitfield family. Our first articulating our demands, including that the officers be arrested, be terminated, and also that there be a Department of Justice federal investigation. So today, we are glad that 2 of the 6 officers have been indicted and there will be charges. The one thing that I will say about that is that an indictment...
All right, well, there you have it. We've been listening to the family and the lawyer for Herman Whitfield III after 2 officers were indicted today. Of course, Whitfield died while in their custody 1 year ago. Much more on this throughout the evening and also online at wishtv.com. We'll be right back.